Tuco, you're a fighter in the UFC. How big of a role does mindset play into your success?
Um, I would say it's a major part because, especially at the higher level, which I'm not even at, but I can speak on it because I'm around these guys and I corner guys at that level. That can often be the difference, you know. A lot of people have similar skill sets at these levels, similar strength, athleticism, preparation, training partners, etc. They're eating the same food, taking the same supplements, following the same weight cut and rehydration protocols. So mindset can be the deciding factor when it comes to these fights, you know. So it's really important. For me, I take a little bit of a different approach, whereas I'm not a guy who uses like a mind coach or anything like that. I consider that to be my main attribute, my mindset and my mentality. Whereas other guys, they're incredible athletes and they need to like tweak and get their mind right. I've never had any issues with my mind, my confidence, stuff like that. Um, and I take a less is more approach. Not that I neglect it, but it's like I'm kind of very decisive and I kind of decide my mindset is something I feel I can control and I can make the decision that like I'm unfazed by X, Y, Z. I don't need to train. I don't need to pay someone to tell me that, you know. But again, I guess I'm blessed because with my life experience, I've managed to get to that place. But oftentimes people don't just arrive there organically and they need to do that work to get there. My life has done the work for me. So I feel like I'm just organically arrived at that place where my mind's incredibly strong. So I'm blessed.
That's an amazing answer. I love something that you said was this idea that everybody eats the same, everybody trains the same, but mindset is what sets people apart. I've
Yeah.
never thought about it like that. I think that's very interesting because, you only have 24 hours in a day, so the things that you could do are very limited, but the ways that you think make your success very, very cool. If you could pretend that you start on a clean slate,
Yeah.
what of the top three things would you give yourself as far as a mindset to give yourself the highest chance of success in your life, whether that be UFC or to people who don't fight necessarily?
What things would I redo?
Not necessarily redo, but if you were to
Yeah.
start off on a clean slate, what things would you give yourself to give yourself the highest chance of success?
Um, well, there's some variables you can't control, you know. I didn't come from like a stable household, so things like that. And I remember when I was young, we had this business what school trip to meet a millionaire. I remember, and the advice he gave it always stuck with me from when I was a kid. He was like, if you look at like these hierarchies of needs, like there's Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the things that every human needs, the foundations that they need to go on to achieve success. So at the bottom of that pyramid is like shelter, warmth, clothes, food, stuff like that. And the guy said that he's like his foundation, which allowed him to go on to get success, was he knew that at home he had a warm bed, a clean set of clothes, and a hot meal made from his mum and his mother's love. So didn't always have those things. So I would definitely have that. I would have a stable household with loving parents where I knew I had that security of a warm meal, clean clothes, and a bed to sleep in. You know that I think that's very important. Um, I think like a greater support structure in terms of just your community and your environment. If your environment is an environment that encourages someone to go on and be whatever it is, enterprising, entrepreneurial, or just whatever field you go into, your community should encourage that. And not like I come from a place where people, they're generally haters. Everyone wants to see you fail. Like everyone celebrates your demise. It's very cutthroat, dog eat dog, and they consider your failure an opportunity for their success. So that's what dog eat dog really means. It's like in a dog eat dog world, people want you to fail because that means they have a chance at success. So that would be the second thing, environment. But the third thing, and I think is the most important thing, is a quality that people don't often promote or speak of in a positive light, and that's audacity. When you are audacious, right? Because people sometimes they say that in a derogatory way if they label someone with that. They say, "How dare you have the audacity to do X, Y, and Z or say X, Y, and Z?" But audacity is the quality that has got me to where I am in my life because when you're audacious, it's like you have the gall and the balls and the guts to just do anything, to say anything. And even as a kid, I would go out as a kid and just run amok, run the streets. And I wasn't shy to communicate with anyone, to interact with anyone. So I could go and live as an adult because I could get on public transport, on a subway, on a bus, in a store, talk to someone, go into a restaurant as a kid. And that allows your growth and your life experience to just move at an accelerated rate because when you're audacious, you're not shy, you speak up and you get what you ask for in this life. So you need to speak up. So yeah, I would say audacity.
So to recap, you said stable life, support structure, and audacity.
Yeah.
Good. That's a really good list. I know you were talking about as far as the support structure goes to find like-minded people.
Yeah.
How would you recommend people do that?
I think you need to immerse yourself in different environments, right? You have to test the water. So you're not going to find people if you don't put yourself out there. And like, I have some of my best friends are guys that I've trained with, and they're people that I click with, and we have a great relationship. But I've trained with hundreds of thousands of guys. So it's like I only arrived there by meeting all these different people. That's the only way you're going to meet the people for you, you know? Sometimes you're lucky, like in a romantic sense, where you meet the love of your life when you're a fucking kid and they're your childhood sweetheart and you get married. But for the most part, you have to test the water a little bit and you have to immerse yourself in different environments. You see this with fighters because they go train here, there, they try a few different gyms until they find the gym that's for them.
Totally. Do you think, as far as you talking about the fact that you didn't have a stable life growing up, thank you for sharing that, by the way. Do you think that maybe that helped you in a way?
100%, man. I definitely believe that any experience, positive or negative, even a negative experience, it could be the worst thing ever. It can only be a good influence on you if you think about it. Like any experience should only positively impact you. You know what I mean? It's like that Jocko Willink attitude of like, good. Your mum died, good. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, it should only positively impact you where you use it to go on to be better, you know? And but again, that's a mind state that you have to be in to get there. So for sure, it definitely helped me. Yeah, because I just have thick skin and I don't want for much because I didn't have much. So it's like I feel like I'm a. This isn't these aren't animals that are thought of in a good light. But if I was to describe myself as an animal, I would say like a hyena, a cockroach. A cockroach is fucking indestructible. You know, they can survive a fucking nuclear blast, but their self-preservation is their motive, and it's like that's how I am. I feel like I could be snuffed out on the fucking dirt in the garbage. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna rise. I'm gonna find something to eat. I'm gonna find somewhere to go, some way to get out and make it out of that.
That's an amazing answer. Tuco, do you read at all by any chance?
I read every single day of my life.
I have a good book recommendation for you.
I probably read it.
It's called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Have you heard of it?
Oh, of course. I read that when I was like 12.
Yeah, it's my favorite book ever.
A
And
great book.
you talking about the fact that all your experiences can only be positive for you reminded me of the book. I was actually reading
Yeah.
it right before you came on, so
You
I
know
love
what?
it.
I probably took it from that book, but I've read so much I often forget what I quote, and I might have plagiarized that as my own. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I get a lot of my views from books.
Well, I mean, I think all for the best, you know. You can't develop it
Yeah.
on your own. Do you have since you read a lot, I can tell you're a very smart person, you like psychology a lot. Do you have any philosophies that you live by?
Mm, yeah, there's one, and you know what? I got this from a book as well. I can be honest about that. And the book was called, it was like a shitty self-help book. It wasn't anything of like note. And it was called, I think, Daily Meditator. And it taught me that you can meditate at any time, like anything you do. You could be waiting for the bus in the rain and you could meditate. You could meditate looking at your plate while you eat. It doesn't have to be candles lit with om chants and fucking bells and Buddha shit. Anything can be a meditation, you know what I mean? And it said in the book, there was a part that said you should look in the mirror sometimes and like make yourself laugh, be a complete buffoon when you're in private. And I do this a lot when I brush my teeth. I'll look in the mirror and I'll make silly sounds. I'll say stupid phrases. I'll do my face like I make faces at myself. I make myself laugh at myself because everything is laughable. That is the philosophy. It's like everything is laughable, laughable. Your shortcomings, your failures, your pain, like if you can get to a point where everything is laughable, you know, and you see this sometimes, these moments of clarity that men have had in history where like they could get defeated in a battle, you know, and they're about to be executed and they say, ha ha ha, you got me. Well done. I'll catch you in hell kind of thing. And I love that thing, you know, and I feel like I live by that. Like there was a fight 3 years ago, I got knocked out. It's the only time I've been KO'd, you know. And when I woke up, I was like, "You motherfucker! Like, I'll get you." It was that kind of like that philosophy of like everything is laughable because if you're gonna cry about stuff, then you're not how I described myself before. Like, you're not a self-preserving survivor. If you're gonna cry, and you may as well have defeated yourself. You don't even need the opponent.
What's the hardest thing that you've ever had to overcome mentally?
Um, in 2017, I've never shared this. I had a pulmonary embolism. Do you know what that is?
No, what is it?
Dude, I was in Thailand and I had a fucking blood clot in my leg because I was like I was on some bus for like 20 hours. I didn't fucking move and I had a blood clot in my leg and it embolized and it went to my heart, bro, which can like stop your heart. It went to my heart and lungs, I think. And I was in a hospital bed. They told me you have like a only a 25% chance to live or something like that. I was like, what the fuck? And I was written off, bro. I was in the bed for weeks recovering until I think my body cleared the clot or something. And then like I remember them coming to my room saying, "Oh, we're gonna go for a walk." And I was like, "Go for a walk? Like I'm a grown man. What do you mean?" And I got up to walk, and it was like, when you're bedbound for weeks, it's like your body kind of shuts down. But thinking, "Oh my God, I might never fight again." Like you just want to get back to normal life when you're in that situation, when you're in hospital like that. But coming back to fight was probably one of the hardest things I had to overcome. Mentally, of course, being like, but again, I learned a lot through that rep of being like, no, deciding I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna be normal again, I'm gonna be fine kind of thing. And I don't know, the same thing could happen today. I don't know. Like, that could be my fate that I die like that. But I'm not gonna be a bitch about it. I'm gonna be going hard till the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna tiptoe through life to arrive safely at death.
I love that. And I definitely think that your mindset plays a huge role in how far you've made in your life. That's actually so
Mm.
inspiring. I love that. And I mean, even on this podcast, I talked to a lot of different people, but one commonality I always see is people are just very like hammered down. They're like, I'm gonna get there no matter what. They
Yeah.
do the thing they need to. I love it.
Mm.
If you could give one piece of advice to somebody to develop an extraordinary mindset, what would you say? One thing.
Yeah, I would say, like I said before, like to be audacious, and you do that through repetition and just you have to just do it, like the slogan says. I used to like I've always been good with women, right? And with my younger friends and stuff, like they would always ask me, what should I do? Like if we were in a nightclub or something. And I would always say they'd be shy to go approach a woman. And I would say, but as it stands, you're not gonna sleep with her. So what is there to lose? You could go there and get rejected, and you would just be referred to this default that you're at now. So what is your fear? You fear something that hasn't even happened yet. Like fear isn't even real. You know what I mean? And the outcome that you are scared of is just the default you're at now, right? So like me, if I never started fighting because I was scared of failure, it's like, yeah, I could fail, but what's the worst that happens? I could get to where I'd be if I didn't even try. So it's like the worst that can happen is the starting point that you're already at. The time is gonna pass anyway. You may as well go for it, man. That's just what I think.
I love it. Tuco, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you at? Anything you want to shout out?
I just have Instagram. I'm not really big on the social media. If you want to see some fire philosophical and political memes, I'm at Tuco300 on Instagram. I post some shit on there sometimes.